Imagine waking up in a hospital bed with severe injuries, including a compound jaw fracture, after being struck by multiple cars. Our guest today, an accomplished actor and model, faced this reality and had facial scarring that impacted his work. He turned tragedy into triumph by prioritizing nutrition in his recovery journey and by pioneering a groundbreaking, transformative skincare line rooted in pure, clean ingredients that provide natural healing. This is the story of Alitura with Andy Hnilo. Andy, so great to have you on, man.
Hey, so good to be here, Casper. How are you?
I'm doing great. And listen, we were talking about this before even recording, was the fact that our paths have kind of intertwined a little bit, and we've always been in the same industry, but like so many, you kind of pass each other, say hi and everything, but we never actually connected. So this is amazing that, a couple of years after we probably first crossed paths, we're sitting here talking to each other, you in Sedona, beautiful Sedona, me in New York, being able to do this. So thank you.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. I believe one of your teammates, Courtney
Yes.
Porkalab, is a customer of ours. She's an awesome person, and tell her I said hello,
I
please.
absolutely will. And, you created an amazing line here. We actually tested at our center. We have different ways of doing that. And doctors look into it, bioenergetic and ingredient listing, and saw it was really great product, tested regenerative and all these things. But before we even
Thank
get into the line, let's go back to how it all started. Because as I mentioned, you went through a horrific tragedy, but you did change, turn that into something. But what was that even like? Do you even remember, what happened that night, or did you just wake up in a hospital? What was that whole journey like there?
I was crossing the street on Melrose after leaving a restaurant, looked down at my phone and took a step out, and then boom, I got clipped by a westbound heading Land Rover. I lost consciousness, got hit into the eastbound lane and run over by a Tundra. Both cars pulled over. My clothes were getting cut off me in the middle of the street. I was coming in and out, and I vaguely remember the ambulance ride over to Cedars-Sinai Hospital and waking up with chest tube inserted, a morphine drip, and just, my jaw, just my chin was protruding through the bottom of my mouth. I had a compound fracture of my jaw. This whole section from my chin to just beneath my left ear was in pieces. The resident maxillofacial surgeon at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, Dr. Rosenberg, couldn't do the surgery, so we had to find a private doctor, Dr. Joseph Bergerdi, and Dr. Rosenberg assisted, put me back together, titanium plate up top, one on bottom. I'm just extremely grateful to be alive. People don't survive accidents like that. Interestingly enough, I don't know if it was just a shock from like the trauma or something like that, and then, or probably having my family around me, but I had a heightened perspective. I wasn't down for that long. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it was like I had my ankles, knees, shoulders intact. That I was obviously extremely disappointed about my reflection, being unrecognizable, having no teeth, jaw wired shut.
Mhm.
But I just knew that put together a plan of going on walks, getting circulation going, getting the nutrition through a little straw in my mouth, and just day by day working on getting back as quickly as I could. But in that process, wow, that a lot of self-reflecting and just looking into something that turned out to be my lead to my purpose, which is Alitura Naturals. That's for sure.
Let me ask
Uh,
you this, because so many people that go through like disease that I speak with see it later on as this blessing of transformation, even though it's such a struggle. Do you look at that moment as also a transformative moment that of course was a horrific and very painful moment, but was
oh,
that a transformative moment in your life?
absolutely. I mean, um, I wanted to be in the entertainment industry, and that's such an unpredictable route, waiting for the phone to ring. I just had this subconscious feeling that I was underachieving in life, but I was working as hard as I could towards a direction where I thought I was going to, that was my dream. I mean, that accident rocked me right towards something that had been staring me in the face my entire life previously. I had little skin issues in college and then became obsessed with ingredients. I met with a Chinese herbalist in Berkeley, California. I went to Cal. I had very bad back acne and just little cystic sores that were so frustrating. The first thing you see in the morning, especially when you have like relatively clear skin, but just that one mosquito bite or a couple.
Mhm.
And that was my thing. And it just, walking out, I think we had a day off. I was down on Shattuck and I met with a Chinese herbalist. I bought my first, I think it was, what was it? Uh, it was aqueous silica horsetail extract for hair. I was just, but I had a conversation with this gentleman explaining the importance of building your blood. I learned about adaptogens at
Mm.
18,
Mhm.
and I went from, Neutrogena, Clean and Clear to Dove soap. I mean, it had 5 ingredients. 2 of them were coconut-derived surfactants. I used that from head to toe, and I think I was still using Per Plus or whatever. But at 18 or 19, when you start to see those incremental results, start to clean up your diet a little bit. I mean, I wasn't perfect, but going from dorm food and then switching it up and going from like, going to the spinach aisle with tuna, eat this, not that. Remember the Men's Health magazine? Anyway, I was really into it at a very early age, but I wanted to be a ball player and then be an actor. But I mean, it was both went very well. It's just so interesting that, years later looking back, I mean, I couldn't imagine doing anything else than those two things, acting, modeling, and then being an athlete. It was just what I loved, and just I was, working very hard towards those avenues as a career. But and then now I kind of look at that and it was fun. I can't imagine doing anything else, and I don't want to. I
Mhm.
have control. Well, yeah, complete control over formulating products that I couldn't find on shelves. Seriously, at the time, I just couldn't. There was always some type of hole in a product, whether it was a preservative that I didn't like, a
Mhm.
filler that didn't. I mean, just go to me. You can go above and beyond with everything. You can go organic on ingredients. It costs more, sure, but if you're doing it for yourself, what else? And you can afford it. That's the thing. I didn't have that much money, but it was just I don't know. That's where I spent my entire paycheck. It was on the food and supplements that I would put inside of my body, even before the accident. I just felt that discipline of feeding, the machine as well as I possibly could at the time, and taking care of myself with, discipline and working out and all that, would lead to success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just that paying attention to all areas of what I was consuming and putting on top of my skin. Just, I mean, it's just looking back and then now it's my life.
Yeah.
But it truly is. Even at, not even on the business side, it's just 24/7, really. I mean, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And in skincare, when we started off a year into it, being an athlete or whatever, I was hesitant, kind of, a little shy about it, owning a skincare line. But now it's just like, you demo products that say spring training for the Cubs and A's, and you see some of the people you've seen on TV, they walk by and then they come back. I mean, we all want to look and feel good, and just it's okay to take care of yourself. And I know exactly what energy I'm emitting to, personally and professionally when I leave that door, because of that self-care and that routine that I do daily, that is just predictable energy and moods that that I
Yeah.
can rely on.
And like you mentioned, so much of like skincare, anti-aging, and beauty is just a reflection of what's going on inside. It's just a reflection of the health of the body that's actually visible. We never see if the liver has become strained and what it looks like, right? But we
Right.
do see when we have an eczema outbreak or some sort of outbreak on the skin, because possibly your liver is overburdened and the toxins need to go somewhere. And the skin acts as that extra excretory detoxification organ. So it's
Mhm.
a lot of, I feel like, what we're talking about, anti-aging and beauty, is just an extension of what we're trying to do in medicine and everything else, which is optimize health. So in a way, a lot of what you're doing is optimizing health through these ingredients in natural. Now you said, and I saw this, you bootstrapped this whole thing with like 20K, and you're just like, all right, let's start somewhere. How do you get there? Because you want high quality ingredients. And I know this because I've formulated supplements, and most people like, hey, you got to have it under X amount of money, the cost. I'm like, it's impossible with good ingredients, you
Mhm.
know, and they want you to make the margins as much as possible, then you got to cut corners. Then you're going to have a suboptimal product in the end. And that's not what it's about here. So,
Mhm.
how did you go from, hey, I have this much money to, "Hey, let's create a line of ultra high quality skincare products"?
Well, I actually booked the Oakley Global campaign, so I used money, capital, my own capital, in addition to Dave's loan that he gave me. So I was able to. Luckily, people responded to the product. I took the profit from
Mm,
that and then created our moisturizer. I mean, this was all done out of a small 660 square foot apartment. I mean, I had a chance, an opportunity with Dave. He put it on his website. We shot another couple podcasts, but luckily, people, because it was only on his website for a year. So luckily people returned to my website. And then,
yeah.
I just kept pounding the pavement and staying, keeping it very simple. It was me. I remember because I was working a lot with Oakley at the time. And so people who
Mhm,
saw the podcast, was it Frank Haro, Dan Lyman, if you're
mm.
listening, thank you. They would, yeah, people would come up and help me bottle the jars because we had to scale up for Bulletproof's release on their website.
Yep.
And then, but it was just so interesting because it was, luckily the people responded to the product and came back to mine. And then people were asking for a follow-up moisturizer, what I would recommend. And then I made our moisturizer. And then from that, people were wondering what to use at night. I mean, this wasn't just a streamlined process. Every single one of the products, I mean, the moisturizer took 22 tweaks, 11
Mm,
tweaks into it. We didn't have, because we were going to go USDA certified organic at that time,
mhm.
but we couldn't because a lot of my ingredients were wild crafted. So in order to get that
Yep,
100%, we're at like 95, 96
yep.
across the board with the exception of Pearl Cleanser and Night Cream, because you can't, Pearl Powder and Kaolin Clay are tough to certify as organic. But that's the thing, just starting from scratch, blank canvas. Luckily, I met a very good chemist named Susan Raffi, Anthony Maxfield, just mentors to me that, meeting with, seriously. And if anybody did this to me, it's the same thing. What you cannot deny passion and interest, especially when it comes from a good place. These, like, that manufacturers and chemists, that's why it has to be face to face, because it's just it's unrealistic, like you said, to come to anybody with like this ingredient deck of first wild milking grass-fed colostrum. I mean, it's $18.10 to make now. I mean,
Yeah,
35
no.
when I first, I mean, because I didn't know my cost of goods, so I charged $35 free shipping, right? So I mean, you ship to Sweden for $23
Yep.
in cost 18. I mean, do the math on that. I mean, it's a little embarrassing, but I was living in that excitement of people wanting something that
Yeah.
I mean, for a year and a half after the accident, that's when I was tinkering with the formula. A friend, getting that like legitimate double take from a friend of mine, Christina Rodriguez. She's like, what are you doing? Because she saw me right after the ICU. And then that, just sharing something, but getting little, I never thought it was going to be a business or a product, but for about a year and a half, getting that, like, the meeting with a smaller esthetician or
Mm,
makeup artist to maybe throw it in her kit. But I'm sorry, it's just a little too strong. But I would dial down the vitamin C, a little too earthy, dial down the kelp powder
mm,
50%. And so that year and a half after the accident was really just, it was fun because I was recovering, as I was back in the industry as well, working more as an actor than I was before. But I still had this magic in this interest, like, and I knew what it did for me. But long story made short, yeah, 2013, I troubleshooted Dave asked for his email address. That's how I got on his podcast. And the rest is history, just basically sharing what I did to
yeah.
recover. Last 10 minutes, he asked what I did for my skin, because I wasn't telling him that, your bulletproof coffee got me out of bed in the morning, really, motivated me to get in the gym and recover. Thank you, which is true.
Yeah.
And then he asked what I did for my skin, and we hadn't talked about it. And so, like, because it was like one of the top podcasts on iTunes, I was
Yeah.
seriously a little hesitant about sharing that, but luckily just I did. And it's a lot of fun for me. I mean, having that control, and in my opinion, I mean, there's Osea, May Lindstrom, Anne Reggiani. I think I'm missing one. There are good brands now that
Mhm.
really do care. I think Primally Pure. But it's just we have that control. And I like, as you mentioned, well, before the podcast, you're on your travels. I believe it was to Africa. Like, I'm so close to Egypt and
Mm,
Peru and Italy and Greece. So, like, just this past year traveling, my next thing that I want to do is I want to make a product called curandera. That means the healer. And I
mm,
want to take medicine from all these different areas around the globe. I mean, because everybody has a remedy.
mhm.
Mastic. in
Hmm.
Greece.
Mastica. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just get the medicine and tell the story. Now you're supporting other remedies and other time-tested remedies from our ancestors. That's the interesting thing. I want to stay out of the lab and synthetics as much as I can. I mean,
Yep.
if we can tie it into plants and if I can tie in the organic component and really tell the true story of an extract, then yeah, I will include it. That's the difference. We like the cutting edge, like anti-aging skin science with the organic, as close to nature as possible component, and then tying them in together. That's what I believe is a little bit unique about us. But the most important part is the medicinal aspect of what we're putting on top of our largest organ, and not having like turning around the bottle and taking pride in watching the people's eyes light up when they look at the deck. That's not, I'm not like kidding either. It is night and day difference, and it costs us more. Our body lotion is
Yep.
29.75 out the door to make, and we sell for what, 89. And you wholesale that. It's not ideal, but Brazilian acai butter, Marron glass, Australian sandalwood, lemongrass, Madagascar vanilla, these aren't cheap
Hmm.
ingredients, but I will go to that level. It's just I live for the reaction, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's amazing to hear the approach because, you look at it, it's this entrepreneurial, passionate approach. You're so invested in it. You're combining that with ancient wisdom, which is absolutely the way we should go, is to look at how other ancient civilizations who knew so much more than we do about certain things applied it. And then you're going with experience of not just yourself and others. I feel like too much of what's happening in both medicine, healthcare is it starts with the marketing, right? It starts
Yeah.
with what's profitable. How can we cut costs? How can we do this? What's, building up? Let's add these two because people are trending on it in Google Analytics. It's like, and then you end up with something that, yeah, will make you money, but doesn't really do much to heal at all.
No.
And you took like this opposite approach, which I truly appreciate and love to see in medicine because the end result is a healthier person, not a successful company. In the process, you make a successful company by helping others. But too
Mhm.
many put the dollars first in health and medicine. And you didn't do that. Now, I know it's incredibly hard to source good stuff. Most people like just give me the cheapest stuff from China. I don't even care about seeing a COA. Like, let's just go and put it in there, say it's amazing, right? Who's going to test it? FDA isn't testing it, no one else will. How do you go about then sourcing? Because obviously you're looking for the best stuff out there, but it's not always easy to find.
It's eh, Jing herbs. That's the thing. I met after the accident. I met with George Lamoureux from Jing Herbs, Ron Teagarden from Dragon Herbs, Crosby Ware, Sage Dammers, Truth Calkins, Jaw Wired Shut. Just picking their brain on just certain ingredients that would help me recover. Some of the ingredients that I added to like this morning tonic, I would use into the clay mask. And you're right, they are expensive, but it's I mean, yeah, if you explain that in your marketing and just I really I didn't take I just looked at it if it caught like I mean that's really why I charged 35. I mean, I didn't know enough about business. I didn't write a
Mhm.
business plan going into this. I
It's a good thing.
created I love it, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm
No, the
10 years
business
in.
kind of screws it up. Like I have a business background. Sometimes I have to let that go because it's too analytic. It's too much looking at a number instead of an actual human result.
Man, thank you. That's exactly how I feel, man. And like, it's, I was told from someone very close to me, early on, a couple months into it, that we would, it's not profitable enough to scale. And
Mhm.
man, I was acting. And this was extremely fun for me. And then it started to kind of take off. And then acting, I completely put it to the side. It's just, you, I mean, I wanted to make it affordable for everyone, and I mean, I almost want to just put our cost of goods out there, and just because our bottles are
Yeah.
more expensive than entire formulas. Miron
Yeah.
glass bottle and pump 282 out the door for our body lotion. Like that's just the bottle and pump, no lip, nothing inside of it. But the product is more effective. It blocks out artificial light. It maintains the
Mhm.
bioactivity of the live, cold pressed organic ingredients inside of it, which is medicine for you. I mean, Yeah, there's just, it's fascinating to me finding out the little intricacies that, and a lot of that, the preservative, shelf stable. I mean, you go to these manufacturers early on in the process and just learning on the go, which is how this happened. But it's just like you said, that not necessarily with the testing component, but the the ingredients that they've had on their shelves. There was just no story. There was no heart from it. I love the fact that we get all of our bee products, royal jelly, beeswax, honey, propolis, pollen from a family that holistically raises bees in Hawaii.
Mm,
Now I'm finding out more, especially specific in this area. There's a specific moth that that does not it, like protects the bees or something.
mm,
There's so much more, but all this came to me before with that, and then like retroactively, I'm learning even more and more about just the sourcing component of the people who I ended up working with. Our Center Tech Colostrum, first 4-hour milking grass-fed colostrum in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I think you have to be obsessed with your with what you're using for yourself. I had that like reputation of being the weirdo with the supplements. I mean, really though. I mean, you should see my cupboard, even my teammates and all that stuff. Whatever. It's just now looking back, it all made sense. But just yeah, there are cheaper sources. Dude, I just I wouldn't be able to explain it. You'd be able to read it off me. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like if I didn't include that same first 4-hour milking grass-fed colostrum that I used in my own recovery, it's just, dude, we're smart as human beings. Yeah, I didn't even think about it, obviously, but yeah, you probably could get a much cheaper colostrum, but now it's not medicine. And now you're
yep.
lying to the people. You're not using the same one as your formula. It's just, you read me like a book, and I actually have no problem. Just that's a fact. But I mean, I'd love, man, we can just feel. Yeah, well, I'd love just being able to share my complete truth with our
Yeah.
ingredients. And
I think
as far,
it's very honorable in a system like medicine, healthcare, wellness, anti-aging, biohacking, all of these are really all the same in my book to be transparent, and honestly put quality first because you know that in this field, like no other, quality determines results. In
Mhm.
the field of like skincare, you actually see the results.
Yeah.
It's not like you're slowly kind of regenerating certain organs or the cellular like function. That takes time. It's very nuanced, as they say, and you have to really be in tune with your body. But in skincare, it's visible. You're looking in the mirror all the time.
Mhm.
And absolutely, that is a reflection of what you're applying to it and applying inside of your body. And one of the products that I really enjoyed using was probably your bestseller. I don't know. You could tell me the clay mask. How did that come about? Because most people would say, well, that's such an ancillary type feeling product for beauty and skincare, whereas you made it kind of this pivotal product.
Absolutely. So when I was acting every Sunday night, I went from Aztec healing clay, which is one ingredient, bentonite clay, and
Hmm.
then use that for years, and then I actually found a different source for that. In that source, it was greenclays.net. I mean, Jason Eaton, he just has written books and books and books on clays and just the properties, and I mean, that's where I found out about iLight, kaolin, rasul. Um, and then I would experiment. I mean, it was very cheap. And then also I was just creating the beginnings of my little clay mask. So that actually at the time when I had roommates, I'd go in, mix it up, let it dry in my room, go in, shower real quick. It was something I was definitely hiding. But then after the accident, I obviously had that in my back pocket. I would think, just theoretically, that was going to bring an influx of microcirculation to the
Hmm.
surface of the skin. Hopefully, get some scar tissue loosened up, remove some of the swelling, impurities from the CT scans and X-rays and heavy metals that I had. My jaw was wired shut, and just
Hmm.
the toxins from going through
Yep.
all of that. And subtly exfoliating and then experimenting when I had my morning tonic, breaking open a capsule of pearl powder, putting it in there. Oh, some of the colostrum, because I had a little jar of that, super expensive, but the particle size blended very well. So did ginseng as well.
Mm.
Spirulina did. And so from spirulina, I went kelp and
Hmm.
just trial and error. A lot of things didn't work, but basically what I was doing is adding many things from my tonic into the mask and just seeing if it, because if it's that good internally for you, you know, your skin being your largest organ, I really
Yeah.
feel like you can treat it like a lot, like another mouth. But however, I mean, many things didn't work. But the ingredients that did, man, I mean, it's just like a superfood meal for your skin. 4 clays, uh,
Mm,
American ginseng, first 4 hour milking grass-fed colostrum, ground freshwater pearl powder, organic hemp powder, 10% ascorbic acid, high potency form of vitamin C. So like you're getting good circulation, good reintroducing trace minerals that we lose as we age. I mean, and then the colostrum component, I'm
mm,
sure you're seeing how popular it's
yep.
getting now. But I mean, luckily, that's Crosby though. Crosby told me about that. That's the
Mm.
thing though. You got to be a sponge. I mean, there's so many,
Well,
you
that's the
know.
thing. I always said like the best people to create these types of products aren't the experts. They're the observers that talk to all the experts. Because the experts always have a little bit of an ego, I would say, of saying, here's the one I know, here's the compound that's going to change everything. It's the
Mhm,
David Sinclairs of the NMNs that are just like, that's the one. Instead of
mhm.
people being like, well, NMN with this and reserve and everything as an observer and then experiencer, that's a little bit different. So the way I see you kind of looking at all this and not having any attachment to any singular ingredient, and not being like, let's market the hell out of this little ingredient here, put it in
Right.
and kind of, put things around it and it'll do really well in the sales pitches and everything. Like you
It's
didn't
so
do that, which is an amazing feat because I look at this ingredient list, I'm like, that's interesting. That's interesting. Like, oh shit, this is a really good product.
thank you, man. That's exact. I mean, it's an album. It's an
Yeah.
album for me, you know? You
Yeah.
too, Coldplay. I mean, a lot of things got cut on that editing floor. A lot of ingredients didn't make it. I mean, I appreciate you saying that.
And I love
It's
hearing that it's an
different.
album because,
Oh,
back in the day, I know growing up, it's like you had to have 10 out of 12 hits basically for me to buy
exactly.
that CD. I
Dude,
wasn't buying
yeah.
it for the one single that came out and
No.
everything else being a terrible song.
Dude, I did that same thing. Me and my brother would do it. Dude, it's 7 out of 11. And that's a good buy
Yep.
right there.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
that was amazing. That's why I
That's
appreciate like old school like hip hop and rap because I could listen to the whole album through and be like, good, good, great. It wasn't like,
hmm.
oh, I got to skip over like most of this. So
Yep.
yes, make supplements and products like albums of the past. Another
Yeah.
really interesting product from you guys is the gold serum. Like, tell me about that one because again, I know the powers of kind of gold in the body and different ways, but I'd love to hear how you came about, creating that one.
Yeah, so basically after the moisturizer, I wanted to create like a concentrated serum. We added what's basically a 95%. It's a best from cutting edge anti-aging skin science with like plant-derived vitamin A, which is a retinol alternative that we source from France. It's alfalfa derived and organic. We have copper peptide, marine collagen, CoQ10, and astaxanthin. I mean, that's it. Astaxanthin, I'm finding out more and more now, thanks to a lot of other companies that are promoting it now. I mean, it's incredible, a very potent antioxidant. But the base, though, um, it's just like this liquid gold. I mean, I'm not going to throw the company under the bus, but I mean, seriously, a lot of companies add yellow 5 artificial colors to get what we got. I think it's the CoQ10, the bright kind
Yeah.
of orangish
Yellowish
that gives it,
orange. Yeah.
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 But we got the color. It adds like a little, not, it works out that people liked it, but we had to dial that down because it was,
Hmm.
gives you a really like rich glow. So astaxanthin's like the brightest red too. So we got that naturally. It's as a sandalwood, frankincense, a collection of organic botanicals, and we're using rose hydrosol as our base. No water in the formula. Organic rose hydrosol. That to me, that's my masterpiece. I would say that and the clay mask. There's nothing I'm more proud of than the gold serum and clay mask.
Do you have a certain protocol or process that you go through in order prioritization, maybe even seasonally, or if you see something coming up that you'll switch it around with the line?
Um, no, not really. I just we push like just like we try to keep it simple with
Yeah.
like the just cleanse, exfoliate, hydrate, repair.
Yep.
To the people that haven't, you'd be surprised. Like a lot of people just don't know how to do it, when they should do it. And so that, it's fine explaining that, but just also simplifying it because I can get, as you probably know, I can get a little wordy. So we just want to keep it, nice and simple. Cleanse with the
Hmm.
Pearl Cleanser, exfoliate 1 to 3 times a week, take a day or two off to let full cell turnover occur. With either the meteorite scrub or the clay mask, both do an incredible job. I use both of those, and then follow with the gold serum, and then heal and seal in your results at night with the night cream. Like just keeping it simple with that. And then obviously we have a lot of, we have 16 SKUs now. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, does that answer your question as
Oh,
far as like,
totally. Yeah, and I believe that simplicity is the key. I used to work with a line of biological medicines out of Germany that were created in 1921 based off like Paracelsus input and other like alchemical geniuses of the past. And their line has always been 21. That's it. And for 100 years now, it's always been like one for each organ. And it's not about symptoms, it's about looking at the body and synergizing, right? So they're like, the simpler the better. Whereas all the competitors every year are adding like 50 SKUs and trying to sell more. And they were like, we don't need to sell more. We
Mhm.
just want to keep steady growth, small, steady.
Yeah,
100 years later, it's a bigger company, but established and never changed it. Never even changed the formulas, right? And I always
wow,
respected that because they
yeah,
did what you did. They tweaked for like 20 years
wow.
and got it to where they're like, we're good. And we're
Eh,
not adding anymore. We're not doing anything different. We're just going to keep up the same high standards of production and where we get and hand picking the ingredients from the Italian Alps at certain times in the day. And it was
wow,
amazing. It was really a work of art. And it's like they
yeah,
never changed or complicated it. Whereas most
wow,
places like to complicate things, right? And then sell you more and use this one and do this one and add this one. And it becomes too much. So I love the
right.
simplicity.
Yeah, no, wow. Can you email me that company?
Yeah, yeah. We used
That's
to distribute for them in the United States, and then the FDA got involved. We were like, ah, we're out.
I
So you could
just
get them in Germany still, Saluna. I'll throw him a pitch, and Christoph Proller, if you're listening, you did an amazing job with that company. So yeah,
I
but
just
I'll
want to
let you
read
know.
about them. I want to
Yeah,
read
no,
it.
it's an
That
amazing
that's
story.
that's
How much goes
respect right
into it?
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I have learned. It's like the simpler, the better in some ways. Again, business gets in the way. You want to add more and be like, let's do this, let's do that, and keep going. When if you just, look at what you have and kind of roll with that. And it's not to say you can't add or be dynamic. You can in the way you utilize things and maybe add on, but that's not the goal. The goal isn't to just grow, grow, grow. It's to adapt and evolve and constantly be seen. They see it as a process where each time they run through this, they're reusing things and going in
Mhm.
again. And it's like a regenerative cycle, like an
Yeah.
alchemical process where you go round and round. So it was fascinating to learn about alchemy through that and, all these interesting things of how the universe works and even the
Yeah.
cosmic influences on plants and all these very cool. So I kind of see that a lot in what you're doing and keeping it that way. As far as
Absolutely.
tips outside of the usage of products, like what would be your recommendation to someone being like, I want more radiant skin? Like, what should I be doing? Is it sweating more? Is it drinking more good water? What would you say?
Oh, sauna.
Sauna?
I'm
You're a big sauna
such
fan?
big sauna guy. Yeah. Big
Are you a
sauna
cold
fan.
guy too? Like, are you
Yes.
sauna and cold immersion? You're doing both?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not the most comfortable to somebody that hasn't done it, but I mean,
Yeah.
I would say that's number one
Yeah.
for me is sauna and cold immersion, staying consistent with that if you can daily. Um,
And I'll
that
throw
that's
this
that's
in there, not to interrupt, but if
yeah.
you are really against the cold immersion altogether, because I know so many people like, I can't do it, do the face dunk, right? And just
Mhm.
a small bowl, ice in
Mhm.
there, put your face in the morning.
Mhm.
And I even spoke with Dr. James D. Antonio. You're getting a reaction. If you do your palms and face, the whole body will sort of get a similar reaction as to the whole body being in there. And you'll still have the visual kind of effects of capillary, small and increased circulation. So it's a starting point for those that are
Mhm.
really against like jumping in a freezing ice tub, like and spending a few minutes there.
Yeah, it's jolting. Just baby steps, just working your
That's
way
it.
towards that.
Small
Yeah,
steps. Yeah.
definitely effective. Let's see. I intermittent fast and my diet is pretty clean, but I like really good I eat meat, so grass-fed ribeyes,
Okay.
good cruciferous vegetables. Diet's
Mm,
very important to me. Good fats, avocado, almond butter, coconut oil. So diet's very important to me. Getting very good sunlight. I don't know, getting sunlight, at least. I mean, this may sound, 30 minutes to an hour a day. I would recommend probably 15 to 20 so you don't get in the burning state. I just
Hmm.
love the sun. It's my portal. I'd love sunlight, but then again, I understand some people are
Yeah.
sensitive to the sun, so may want to be careful with that. Yeah, so sauna, cold immersion, diet, sunlight. I mean, we really do have to pay attention to the household, detergents,
Yes.
what we're washing, our pillows
Hmm.
and our sheets with, the dishwater detergent.
Hmm.
But you're absorbing that as well.
Absolutely.
Please pay attention to the household products that you're using. If you can go organic, they're very effective. A
Yeah.
lot of them are organic white vinegar based.
Yep.
Um, I even go ozone around, in certain
Mm.
areas.
Yep.
Optimizing your household products.
Hmm.
Get a shower filter.
Hmm.
Um, that's what it was. I remember just talking to you before the podcast. Shower filter. That was one of the things that was a little
Yeah.
debatable, but there are very good shower filters, and ideally, optimally, you would get a whole home filter, but maybe that'd be down the road.
Yeah.
Just right now, the shower filter's fine. Let's see. Just yeah, activity. I mean, getting good activity. I mean, my mornings start off like a cold shower, grounding, breath work,
Mm.
Normatec, red light. I know it sounds like a lot, but get the little 963 frequency music playing in the
Yep.
background. Then you see the sun climb
Yep.
up over the mountain. It's just my life is so much better since I do that. So coming up with a morning routine that it's just I know what I'm going to feel like
Yeah.
afterwards, and that's
Yeah.
just it's important to stay consistent with your energy. You know.
Well, it's again, I connect that health to skin are on the same line there of what you're doing, and the small daily actions you're taking are going to completely impact those. And it's
Hmm.
consistency, right? It's
Hmm.
like when
Yes.
people say, like, oh, why should I stop doing this or using a certain brand I really like? It's not that bad. It's not like one of these donuts is gonna kill. Like, no, it's the consistent, it's the donuts, the air freshener, it's the fragrances and everything. It's just stepping outside into some toxic air, everything around us is in some way become a bit of a toxin. So it's
Hmm.
death by a thousand paper cuts sort of approach. It's not that the one donut will do it, it's just that you're adding in more negative than you are positive. And
Hmm.
so for anyone that's looking to just take the first step, just take one small little step, right? Maybe it's
Yeah.
just the grounding in the morning for you, like them, and then moving into like a different routine that adds into it because you'll get that kind of momentum going for
Hmm.
healthy actions. And when you see the reward, as we were talking about, like how you feel afterwards, you
Yeah.
feel connected, you feel more of a purpose, you feel invigorated. Like people are missing that and they don't know why. And I have to
Right.
say, it's because they're not in the right path and following what is a healthy, I would say, routine in their life. So
Right.
everything you're saying is like taking you on that path to a higher level of consciousness and evolution and finding your purpose. It's all
Yeah.
connected.
Absolutely, it is. And it's
Yeah.
like you said, even just, I know it may sound like a lot to the listeners, but just, yeah, one thing. And then you start to build on that and you start to see how, I mean, you just add them in incrementally as at your pace as you can. But man, yeah, just developing that consistency, like you said,
Yeah.
it's life changing for sure.
Absolutely. Andy, what are you excited about looking into the future of healthcare, beauty, all, this wellness industry? Is there anything like on your radar that you're saying, hey, this is pretty exciting? Or are you just staying in that, hey, it's exciting to be in this grateful spiritual like journey right now?
Hey, I mean, I don't want to, I mean, it's true. I'm 14 months sober from alcohol. We have a
Congrats, man.
flagship store. Thank you, brother. We have our flagship store in Sedona, Arizona. Like
Mm,
I'm not like one of those complacent, easily satisfied, but I'm just very grateful right now, man. Like we have such an opportunity out here. Like Sedona every weekend, the tourists, I mean, it's a sacred place on this planet.
hmm.
And so there's a lot to do. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited about just, that. I mean, because we have a couple locations. We have one in Uptown, one right next door that could potentially be a wellness center. And then just, the challenge of getting, meeting a new city. I mean, introducing people that,
Yeah.
we're Alitura and 10 years. It's just so It's awesome because we have a lot to share and say. And
Yeah,
so it's growing into this community meeting, growing into a retail space for the first time, learning that. And as far as yeah, things just continuing to share our truth. When I first started this, I had a podcast and I was able to, get people on and people, but like I want to do more of that and get other people's other, other guests on and just connecting with people. I love doing it outside of just business and
sure.
skincare. So I'm excited about like doing that. And um man, I'm in a really grateful space right now. I am truly. So I'm excited about a lot because
And that's the thing, the foundation of like health and happiness are the simplest things. People think it's like the products and how much money you're gonna have. Like, no, that has nothing. Those are nice little things. And yes, the gadgets, all the products are wonderful. They can be catalysts to help you with certain things. But if you don't have a foundation of gratitude, of purpose, passion, like those other things don't mean that much, right? So, just speaking to you, I see that. I see that coming off you and everything, and it's a wonderful thing because you could get so caught up in seeing all the negative in the world today. Just looking at your phone, we just see it. We compare each other, like, we look at all the negative. Are we on the brink of wars? Everything bad going on out there? It's like you can still find something to be grateful for, a lot of things to be grateful for. If anything, just reconnect with nature. You'll forget about all that shit and just be like, I
yeah,
feel good. So
yeah,
I think at the
I
core of
agree.
everything, it's like I've heard that so many times from guests. It's, get the foundations down first if you're truly struggling. If you're struggling with health or your skin or anything, get the foundations, apply these high quality products that also kind of, have those same approaches to everything with more natural, going at the root cause is really high quality. And that's the way to live. Like that's
Mhm.
what we should be striving for, and not
Yeah.
the kind of material side of everything and always be looking at the negative. So, um,
Hmm. I
Andy,
agree.
any final remarks before we go? Is there anything you'd love to share and bestow upon us before we head out?
Nah, I feel great. It's really good chatting with you, and getting to know you. And um, I just, man, I'm very, I'm excited to stay the course. And I'm I mean, I'm just a happy human being. You know what I mean? Life has changed. It's a little bit more simple now. I don't know too many people around this area going to bed before 9, waking up early. It's just things have changed. I'm in a
To
much
say I'm
different
envious of you,
place.
man. I'm gonna move out to Sedona, be your neighbor.
Dude, it's different. There's something about this area.
Oh, freaking
I
love
wish,
Sedona. Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
So I don't, I mean, I just, yeah, things are good, man. Things are very good. And
Well,
I'm
I love
grateful.
to hear that, and I love that, you're spreading that with others by creating this through Altura and just sharing your story. So thank you so much. Where can people learn more about you and the product line and go shopping for it?
Yeah, our website is alitura.com, alitura.com. And that's Latin for feeding and nourishing. Just wanted to share that.
Okay. Yeah,
The
yeah.
name.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say where the name come up. I always like to hear that story. So that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was going to be Golden Glow. I mean,
Really?
that's, yeah, Golden Glow,
Okay.
both G's capitalized, no W, all one word. Wow. I mean, 2013, long time ago. But
Dodged a bullet there.
yeah, big time. And then I'm on Instagram at Alitura Naturals. And we'd love to give your following a coupon code for 20% off the entire store if they want to try any of the products.
Awesome. Yes.
And also, yeah, I just, if you, my email is Andy at alitura.com. If anybody has any questions about our products or wants any tips, or this is my life. I love what I do, and I'm sure you can relate. Uh, yeah, yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Andy Hnilo, and yeah,
Yeah, and I have to say again, we test a lot of products here, and my father's found ways in our clinical staff to really try and get to the core of like, is this a good product really? Not what they're saying, not just an ingredient listing, but again, bioenergetic, looking into it, researching everything, and we saw that with Altura, and it was just like, oh, cool, like because it's rare. It's rare these days to find good products. So again, congratulations on making an amazing line.
hey, thank you for saying that and sharing that. Like we love yeah, we want to get more of the clinical studies and all that. You know how it is. It's just
Yep.
kind of short staffed, but it, like you also said, that by that other company, it's just slow and steady wins the
Yeah.
race. I mean, I have no problem, continuing this marathon. I love it, and it's fine. We're not rushing anything. It's about quality and treating our family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Under our lift up, see how they're doing. I mean, we're good. It's just like you said. Yeah, please send me that company. It's awesome.
I
Very
will.
similar.
Absolutely. No. And thank you so much for this, Andy. Really appreciate it. Love connecting with you. Let's stay in
Likewise.
touch. All right.
Do it. Let's do it.
As you
Thank you.
heard here, Andy's been nice enough to share that special 20% off all Alitura products for listeners. So head over to alitura.com and use INNOMED, INNOMED 20. And until next time, continue writing your own healing story.